Yay! I think that was probably not synced. Honestly, like at this point, I just do it for tradition. But in
Yeah.
any case, hey guys! I'm really tired because I stayed up until like 3 a.m. editing, but we're here. I'm here with Jay Martin from Player Roll. Hey, Jay Martin from Player Roll, how you doing?
I'm alive. I'm doing well. Honestly, been a pretty good week so far. How about yourself?
It's been a pretty good week. Today's video is doing very well, which is pretty cool.
Awesome.
Thank goodness, because oh my god, it wasn't a tough edit, it was challenging, which is how I like to frame it. It was challenging, but it was fun. I had a lot of fun with it. But in
Yeah.
any case, enough about that. How have you been doing this week? You've been doing okay. You just said you've been having a good week.
It's been pretty good so far. I'm almost finished editing my video for next week. I think it'll come out next week, probably this upcoming Monday. So excited for that one. And then the last video I did is doing really well. So hey, the content creator's dream, right?
Oh yeah, definitely, 100%. But yeah, in case people are unaware, could you like talk about what you do, what kind of videos you make? Like, obviously they're tabletop related, cause like
Mhm.
duh. But we also talk. I mean, last episode with Fall Cosplay, we just talked about drama the whole time. So I mean, at this point, it's become a variety show. So like, what do you do?
Amazing. Yeah, no, so I talk about TTRPGs specifically and how they are a very cool, underrated form of media. So I talk about how to play TTRPGs. I talk about how to role play in TTRPGs. I talk about live shows, anything that pops into my head for that week. But generally, those three things I talk about.
Yeah, dude. When you make weekly talking heads, bro, you got it. Whatever you got in your brain, that's what we're making
Exactly.
this time around, right?
It's got to come out. It's got to
Yeah.
come out.
But yeah, I mean, I got introduced to you through I think it was your video on I can't remember the first one. I'm trying to remember the first one. I think it was the one on Scanlan's freak out over his mom's name. That was a fun
One of
one.
one of
But
my most popular videos.
did you get introduced to tabletop role playing games through Critical Role, or did you play the before that show came out?
That's okay. So what's actually funny is no, but Critical Role was involved accidentally. So, growing up, I would have loved to play D&D if I had not been raised in a conservative Christian home, which, devil worship, yada yada, all the things we know D&D definitely does. So I grew up not knowing about it, and then one of my friends one day we were all just out eating pizza and was like, "Hey, I want to play D&D." I was like, "Oh, I've been hearing about that." And so we literally just drove down the road to a nearby comic store, bought the starter set. It was New Year's Eve. I spent my New Year's Eve instead of out partying reading the starter rules, and the next day I ran Lost Mines of Phandelver for them. And
While
then
I was
I real
partying, Jay Martin was reading the player's
I was
handbook.
grinding. I studied the
While I
art
was drinking and doing drugs, Jay Martin studied the blade, baby.
because that's definitely something to brag about.
Yeah, dude, hell yeah.
Uh, But yeah, so I did that, and then I realized, oh, I need to like. There's so much more I could learn about this. This is so cool, and so I started looking up, like, hey, how do I do this? First thing that comes up is Matthew Mercer's old How to GM series on Geek and Sundry, and then I was like, oh my god, wait, this guy plays online. Like, I can just watch him play and learn. And then I started watching Critical Role and learned from
Yeah.
there. But yeah.
I got introduced to D&D through, oh my god, through dice camera action.
Oh, let's go! Love that. That's amazing.
So much. But wait, hold on. What? Let's go. Do you know what happened to dice camera action?
No, oh well. See, now I'm afraid. I stay so
Okay,
far out of the
okay,
game.
hold on. Okay. It's been
Yeah,
a
hit me
while.
with
It's
it,
been a while. It's been a while. But the players, Pro Jared and all of them. So,
Oh, Pro Jared got in trouble, didn't he?
well, okay,
Wasn't that a
he
thing?
cheated on he alleged the allegations came out that he cheated on his wife with one of the players from Dice Camera Action, Strix, the Tiefling girl. But it turned out it was way more complicated. It was actually like a polyamorous relationship that turned toxic, and then oh my god, it was ridiculous. It was insane.
No way.
It was
That's
dude.
crazy.
It was like anyway. Pro Dice Camera Action is done. If you want to watch Anna Prosser and who is the guy who played the bard in that show? He is a musician.
It's
But
been years since I
it's
watched
been
that.
years. But he and Anna Prosser were in a show with Sherlock Holmes, and Mika Burton, which is like that's such a good cast, and a Let's Play YouTuber who like I had never heard of him before, but he was so funny, and it's called Knights of Evening Star. It was on the Wizards of the Coast channel, and then they moved it to another channel for a little bit, and it came to a fun end. So if you want like a
Ah,
if you want to see that cast again, that they were
yeah, yeah.
a worthy, in my opinion, a worthy send off. But yeah, I can't believe you never heard about that.
Well, so that's the thing. It's so weird because I'm on the internet all the time. You'd think I'd be involved in a lot of this stuff, but I somehow miss really important parts, like touchstones of internet culture.
Yeah, me
And then I'm
too.
like,
But I still heard about this because I watched the show.
yeah, well, I never even finished the show, so to be fair, I didn't like. I
Yeah,
figured they probably finished up their season and they were done. That's how most shows go. I never knew.
it was wild, dude. Oh my god, it was wild. But it's so funny too because watching Dice Camera Action versus watching Critical Role, like Dice Camera Action was so much like it's such a different era, like in 20, because it came out like
Yes.
2015. It's such a different era than like actual plays now. Like I was watching Dimension 20, and I only watched a couple episodes, and I was like, this is so, like,
It's very
man,
produced.
this is different. This is
It's
new.
very produced, and I do love it. Like that's the funny thing. So much of my channel is about like how TTRPGs and storytelling and live plays are like they're a form of media
Yeah,
that you can tell
they're
stories through.
awesome.
But like, yeah, Dimension 20 is storytelling. It is a bunch of actors sitting down. It's not D&D as many of us got to know it. I think the best live play that really embodies that
Oh boy.
D&D vibe is Legends of Adventris.
Oh yeah, I know about that. They're the
I've been
show that
seeing.
got yeah. They're the show with the clown.
Yes, Chuck was a class. I've been seeing clip. I have not watched it. In fact, I have not watched it out of almost spite of all my comments asking me to watch it, make a video of it. I'm like, you guys can't make me do. You can't tell me what to do. And so I just haven't done it yet. But
I've always said this about actual plays. Like you need nowadays, like I think you need to be that good because it's just there's if you want me to
hmm
watch 4 hour episodes,
yeah,
hundreds of 4 hour dude, you have to I'm sorry, like you
you
got to be that good. You have to
you
be.
gotta have a wait. I've wanted to make a video about this forever, and I just have not gotten around to it. But like, what makes a live play actually watchable? As somebody who's watched literally over 2,000 hours of live play, and like the main thing is a hook. You have to have something that's like genuinely good, not D&D, genuinely good media, and that's really difficult to do while just having like a classic, D&D game. So
Yeah, I ran an actual play. I mean, I've just I kind of came I think it was like I don't know when it happened, but I think like in February or January of this year, I just came to terms with the fact that like actual plays are not within my wheelhouse to like get views in. Like I'm never going to make money off actual plays. It's just not going to happen, but they're fun. Like I enjoy them
yeah,
and
yeah.
as long as I enjoy doing them, I'll do them. So I did the 10th Tomb that was like probably within the top
Oh yeah.
three best like campaign arcs I've ever done. Sometimes it's just
Yeah.
worth it to just have a good time, but you gotta be aware. But you have to. But I think if you want to get into actual plays, you need to be aware of what you're gonna be able to do and what you're not gonna be able to do. It's just
Yes.
it's
Oh
needed
yeah.
for this
Totally.
industry.
Yeah, but yeah, no, exactly like you said. I would never join a live play for the hope of, oh, I hope this gets big. We're playing a game. Go play your game. Go
Yeah.
have fun. And if other people get to be online and watch you have fun, awesome. But don't do it for money because it's not going to work. It's not going to work out that way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it wasn't like I was thinking like, oh, I'm gonna get rich off this. It was just like I
Yeah.
want the show to be even moderately successful for my channel, but like I was,
Yeah.
but like I put in hours into working on it, and it just wasn't a successful project. And like you have to
hmm
come to terms and realize like you need to,
Yeah.
use your time in a way that is productive if you're gonna do this as a career.
Yeah. Nah, that's really fair. That's
Yeah.
really fair. It's a huge time sink. It
Oh
is.
yeah. But anyway, and besides that, like actually, you said you wanted to make that video, but why not start now? What do you think is a good hook for an actual play? Like what is your
Ah,
if you needed to give advice to younger Crispy who was he was getting ready to run Shadow over Karakonos, like what are you gonna tell him other than don't do it, you idiot?
this, see, I feel bad
Just
like
kidding. I love
talking
Shadow
about
over
it.
Karakonos, by the way. That show was great. All right.
You went and you did it. You had fun. You played with friends.
Yeah.
Win. That's an absolute win.
Yeah.
How much am I allowed to curse? Because I just had to stop myself.
I have
I don't know.
I don't know. Like me and Fall talked about drama for like 2 hours. I don't even know how
I
much we
just
cursed. We cursed a lot.
I have a horrible potty mouth. So I don't know. I don't want to step on your toes or anything or make editing
I mean,
hard because that's
I just published today a spoof on PragerU where I brought up hot teenage slaves. So, I mean, I think on this channel it doesn't matter anymore. You're on a
somebody
drama.
clip
I
that
don't
and
know if
take
you know
that
this. I don't know if you know this, but you're on a drama channel. So
out.
like
Cool. I did actually. I went and watched some of your videos, and I had a fun time watching them. It was a good time. So,
yeah.
but that being said, what makes a good live play? I feel bad talking about this because I've only been on a few, and I can't say any of them were successful. I went to do them just for fun, but that is the main one. Is you have to just be going to do it for fun because if you go play a TTRPG for anything other than fun, people will know. It will be obvious that you're not having a good time, and that's
Yeah.
like the main reason people go to watch these things. But the other thing is the personalities are huge. Like the shows that have gotten popular, Dimension 20, Critical Role, Legends of Adventurous. I feel really bad that I keep mispronouncing that. I can't remember if it's Adventurous or not. But any of the shows that have even gotten a modicum of like popularity is because the personalities have mixed really well. And the people who are on the shows are known well enough that people who don't watch the show go, I like that person enough to go invest into that, to go find out. Because it is hours of time. So you have to already know going into it, I like that person well enough. And so that's why Critical Role got, as big as it did in the first place. It was a bunch of voice actors who already had an online presence.
Yeah, well,
But
beyond
yeah.
that, I think not just the shows that get popular. Like, there's a difference,
Hmm.
in my opinion, between popular and good. Like, I think Knights of Evening Star
Oh,
is
very
great,
fair. Very
not
fair. Yeah.
necessarily popular.
Yeah.
But when you look at something like Evening Star, I think another big thing is you need to understand your runtime and like what you can reasonably do with runtime. Like the parts of Evening
Hmm.
Star that I ended up skipping were like filler arcs I don't think needed to be there. There is
Hmm.
nothing wrong. An actual play has not failed because it's 10 episodes. Like
Yeah.
sometimes
Yeah.
yeah, I don't like saying this because I know Brian Foster's in like a ton of trouble and like for good reason. But like the best thing Critical Role ever did was Undeadwood. That is the best show they ever put out. That show is really good, and
It was very good. Yeah, it was
it
very good.
was
It was very good.
it
Yeah.
was it look it is the, I think I'm not alone in saying that Undeadwood is I think one of their most successful short campaigns, and I think it's for a reason.
Hmm.
It was 4 episodes, tightly produced, small scale storyline with good voice actors, and like Brian Foster is not. I mean, he's not a really talented, he's not Matt Mercer, he's not a super talented dungeon master, he's not a voice actor by any means, but he just sat back and let an extremely talented cast do their thing, and in a short amount of time. Undeadwood would not be a successful 100-episode show. It doesn't need to
Yeah.
be. All right?
Yeah.
Just run something with an appropriate runtime. There's nothing wrong with it being 6 episodes.
Yeah, I 100% agree. In fact, one of my favorite like series on Critical Role was one that Matt was not even involved in, but it was Critical Role Calamity. That was very short.
Oh
It
yeah, I
was
haven't seen Calamity.
amazing. It's amazing. It is amazing. But again,
I'm waiting until I finish off campaign 2 and watch all the what's it
oh,
called?
that's super fair. But no, it is I will give no spoilers or anything, but it's incredibly good, very short. Amazing, has a great end. Love that. Very, very small segment. And so I agree. But I think, what's funny is I don't know if it's less about like knowing how much time you're going to put into it, but instead everybody being on the same page of what you're trying to do,
Yeah.
what story you're trying to, and that's important at your home table or if you're doing it in front of cameras.
Yeah.
What story are you trying to tell? For Calamity, they knew, hey, we're only going to have this amount of episodes. It's going to end in a tragedy. And everybody came with their A game because they wanted to tell a tragic story. They were all on the same page, and that's what's amazing about that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
So.
I always talk about this, but like, I mean, I talk about horror stories. I've talked about literally thousands of horror stories, and I'll say like a decent portion of them are just DMs or players who don't know how to communicate like what they expect from the game, and
Yep.
who don't know how to roll with the tone that is going on at the table. Like when I started
Yeah.
my 10-2 actual play, I told the players at the top, like, this is a spy thriller where treachery and betrayal are part of the story. And Fallen Cosplay
Hmm.
decided to run with that and go, treachery and betrayal, bro, I got you. And
That's great.
from one perspective, I'm like, oh my god, this player just betrayed the party in a way that was really, really depressing and sad. But I didn't panic. I just sat back and I was like, okay, let's see if I can roll with this. And I rolled with it, and it was one of the best sessions I've ever run. Sometimes, but that all worked because I established at the top this story is about treachery, betrayal, and sadness. It's a sad story.
Yep.
So I knew
Yep.
that. And she knew that too.
Yeah.
And that's why that ended up working.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. If everybody at the table understands what you're going for, even when those really intense moments happen, everybody understands what the goal of that intensity is. And so nobody's getting uncomfortable. Nobody's like, oh, hey, I don't know what's going on. Hey, why did they just betray me?
I
Well,
mean,
obviously, because
I
that's
was
what we
freaking
do.
out.
Oh, well, there's a
For
difference.
the record.
Okay, yeah. There's a difference between freaking
I
out and
was
like
not chill.
this is a crazy moment, and freaking out is in like, why would you ever do that? Don't do that at my table, yada yada.
Oh
But
my god, that was crazy. But yeah, no, I mean, like, yeah, that's such an important part of running any sort of game. When it comes to taking actual play lessons and applying them to your game, what do you think is like the most important lesson that you've taken out of something like Critical Role? Like, how long have you been DMing? I should actually ask that at the top. How
oh
long have you
yeah,
been DMing?
so I've been DMing as long as I've been playing, so close to a decade at this point. Um, as for watching live play, I mean, pretty much almost exactly that amount of time. So that being said, how what lessons to take from live plays? The funniest thing that I end up taking is because I stress so much to people, hey, don't try to be an actor, don't try to like perform. And yet the biggest thing that I pull away from watching live plays is watching how each of the players at the table are performing, not for an audience necessarily. I mean, of course they are, but they're performing for each other. Like,
Yeah.
especially for tables like Critical Role where there's so many players, sometimes upwards of 8 or 9 players, and it's like it's so easy to get bored. I've been at a table like that. It's boring when there's one person in a group of 9 taking 30 minutes on their turn, etc. But watching them all gather around and perform for each other, make interesting moments for each other, dragging each other into their interesting moments, that is the most impressive thing I've seen from a live play, and also one of the most important things for a successful live play. It's kind of hand in hand. Bring the other players in. You're all there to have fun together and entertain each other. Make it a collaborative experience where you're all having fun and doing the most interesting thing possible, you know? So,
Yeah, it's sometimes hard because like everyone has a different way of engaging with the game. Like some
yep.
people are just not going to be into role playing, and like there's
Yeah.
yeah. And you know what? I think like my home game group, they don't role play all that much. Like we
Mhm.
are a very like hit things combat focused group. Like we play a lot
Yeah.
like Hades. You got the conversations in the middle, but the bulk of the game,
You go and kick ass.
yeah, it's the most it's me trying to challenge them with insanely
Yeah.
mechanically challenging combats. And like, you know what? You got to know what to engage your players with. Like, my artificer player, he doesn't role play all that much. He role plays when I engage him one on one, but he doesn't engage in group role play that much unless it's talking about like loot and gear.
Yeah.
Then he's really
Yeah.
interested because then we're talking numbers game, we're getting ready for the fights, and then you get them invested. Knowing how to bring in people is just as important as doing it in the first place. Because if you try to engage that guy with like emotionally resonant roleplay, he's just not gonna. That's not what he's interested in, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Different people are interested in different things.
Yeah, exactly. That's why one of the most important integral players I've seen at any table is Travis Willingham, because Travis, he gets excited because he knows you're excited about something.
Yeah.
If it is Liam doing something insane with a bunch of high numbers, because that's what Liam likes to do, Travis will freak out about the fact that he's doing that much damage. Meanwhile, if Marisha makes an incredibly self-destructive decision because she likes doing that, that's how she role plays, Travis is going to freak out, make that seem like the coolest
Like
thing that's happening at the
jumping
table.
off a cliff.
Okay, well, I don't think she meant to die there, but yes,
I
yes, she
mean, it
does
was a
do.
self-destructive decision.
It,
That
what?
goldfish blew up,
It
man.
was there was a recent moment in campaign 3 where Matt referenced that, and the look on her face was so funny. But anyways, I don't want to give any spoilers on that. But yeah, so That, and also I've always found that no matter there's typically three types of players. There's a player who likes combat, there's a player who likes role play, and there's the character who's somewhere in the middle. But generally,
That's no
people fall somewhere in
everybody.
there.
Everybody is somewhere in the middle, and that's the most. This is what I gotta say. All right, want to hear my
Okay,
rant
yeah,
right
yeah,
now?
hit me with it.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
everybody is somewhere in the middle, and that's the most unhelpful freaking category of people ever. When people are like, okay, when people are like, oh, my game, it's got a mix of combat and roleplay. Every
Uh-huh.
game is a mix of combat and roleplay.
No, that's exactly what I tell my players whenever I do the session zero. Is I'm like, yeah, so there's probably going to be combat every 2 sessions, and then there will be an actually deadly important combat every 5 sessions, and that's what you get. Otherwise, I'll let you guys do what you want. If you guys avoid combat, that's your thing. But the main thing, the funny thing is, I found way more than trying to figure out if somebody likes combat or roleplay, because you're right, everybody's in the middle somewhere. Everybody is, otherwise we wouldn't be playing this game. Is at session zero asking everybody, hey, when you envision your character like doing the thing you want them to do, being the hero, like their defining cool moment in a movie, what does that look like to you? And they'll just like message me, and like I've had somebody tell me, I really want to stand in a courtroom and I want to outsmart an enemy,
Yeah,
like an enemy lawyer or something. I'm like, great. That tells me way more about what you care about. And then there are
exactly.
ways to find connections in everything. Like, oh, I have a character who only cares about combat and a character who only cares about outsmarting somebody. Cool. They're going to be in a courtroom. They're going to have to outsmart this person. And the other character, the one who likes combat, is going to be there because he knows the moment they win, the king's going to try to arrest them anyways.
Yeah.
Like, you can bring them together. You just have to know specifically what they're looking for, and you can find that connection for anybody. It takes some communication, which is like
Yeah.
90% of TTRPGs.
Yeah.
So,
And 99% of TTRPG horror stories.
yes, yes, every time. Oh, this player keeps doing this and this and this. Did you talk to them? No, I just kicked them out and then I put a restraining order on them. Why? Should I have talked to them at some point?
Well, okay, sometimes you should just kick them out, put a restraining order on them. Sometimes people try to communicate way too much, but it was
My,
literally it was this episode. Someone was like, I put a 3-strike rule on this guy who was being an incel at the table. No! He struck out way long ago, bro. We
if
already struck out.
if that is news to you, if it is news that that person is that way, you probably should not have invited him to your table
Yeah,
first. That is
exactly.
a personal opinion, because I know that D&D is a game, and like you'd invite anybody to a board game. But when it comes to it's a different level. You should know these people on some level before inviting them. Otherwise, you are inviting yourself for those stories. It's
Well,
just,
yeah, because I
ah,
I had a guy at my group who was like
mhm,
I thought he was my friend. I thought everything was chill, but like I didn't want to just get rid of him because I was like, oh, but like yeah, like it's my responsibility to help him out. So I tried talking to
mhm,
him
mhm.
more and more and more, and like look, eventually talk gets cheaper as you do it more and more, right?
Yeah,
Talk
yeah.
talk has like a freaking plateauing value, all right? Like it helps. It helps a lot of the time, and communication is amazing. But I said this in the last video on like literally, it was the one with Chapel Road in the thumbnail. I said this in that video. Session zeros, safety tools, they're great, but they're not silver bullets. They're not gonna solve
Yeah.
all your problems.
All they do is show you when the line is crossed, but you
Yeah,
still have to act once the line is crossed.
yeah,
That's
exactly.
the only thing that those are there for. And so, yeah, it's so important to know people who are at your table. I had a player one time ask me like, "Hey, my girlfriend wants to join our campaign. Could she join?" I was like, "Yeah, maybe. Let me go out get lunch with her. Let me find out literally anything about her, because I've never met her before." So I went out, got lunch, got to know her a little bit, and I was like, "Yeah, I'd be down for her to join for a few sessions. We'll see how it goes, and we'll reevaluate." It's not like a job interview, but hey, this is a group of people all gathering together with a common interest. If somebody doesn't share that common interest, they're not going to have fun either. So it's like there has to be collaboration in one way or another.
I will say this. Like people always are talking to me like, oh, this is just a game. What's the big deal? But like, I mean, D&D campaigns. I'm with y'all for a long time. This isn't like a
A
raid
huge
in Destiny.
commitment. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here with you for a while, man. Like if you're annoying, it's gonna be a hell of a lot more annoying to deal with you for months than it is to deal with you for 2 hours, right? So like I do want to make
Exactly.
sure that you aren't going to annoy the crap out of me before I let you in my game.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm right there with you.
Yeah, awesome. But yeah, is there any other like major D&D advice that you found yourself, or just general tabletop advice that you found yourself like really clinging to, or any I got my whole like middle ground is stupid hot takes when it comes to pitching your games, but like what's your controversial advice when it comes to tabletop games? Like what's the hill you'll die on? You'll die on this hill, and I swear if it's not controversial, I will find you in that midwestern time zone and make you pay for it. This better make my blood boil.
Okay.
Jay Martin.
It may not make your blood boil, but it made people's blood boil, because I got roasted on the internet for weeks after saying this.
Okay.
And I have not backed down from it. And it's the fact that D&D TTRPGs are not therapy. Stop using them as therapy. Now, do not get me wrong. I think that they have wonderful therapeutic qualities. I think they have a wonderful way of helping you explore. And I talked with Phil Tulok, the barbarian. And we chatted about this for hours. I think he said it the best out of anybody, which was sitting down and saying, D&D made me realize I need to go to therapy. It is not therapy. And I think that is absolutely true. It helps you figure some wonderful stuff out, as any storytelling does, but you are never going to watch it.
Do you want a better like framing of it that might get you less crap? D&D is not a substitute for therapy.
But you said I had to make people's blood boil. So
well, I said you had to make my blood boil, and you disappointed me. So I'm not going to find you. I'm going to bomb your car.
Well, you know what's really funny?
Watch out, dude.
Is recently I reframed it. In almost that exact way, because I found a tweet that was like, "What's the one thing you said that got people mad?" And I reframed it in that way, and people still immediately started coming after me about it again. I was like, all right, well.
Yeah, I will say like. I will say, yeah, D&D. I agree. Like D&D is something that cannot substitute any sort of real. Like I don't want to discount anyone's experiences. Like everyone's got a different experience at therapy. Like I've got like I got a good friend. She had a horrible situation with their therapist, and that's gonna happen sometimes. But yeah, it definitely. I don't know everybody. But D&D at the end of the day is a game, and this is how I frame it primarily in my videos. You cannot make your friends into your therapist. Like that is just not their responsibility.
Thank you.
And when it comes to playing your games, I do have a lot of very mature topics around trauma and abuse in the 10th Tomb, for example, which is live on the internet for anyone to watch. And, people did pick up on that. And those are things that, like, yes, I have grappled with, but that's not me using the 10th Tomb as a way to, like, sort those issues out. I sort those issues out in other ways away from these people that, for the most part, I would consider myself friends with Fall and Zach and Jesse and Jacob now, but, other than Fall, I hadn't had extensive conversations with any of them. It would be irresponsible for me to put that kind of trauma onto them. Now, tabletop role-playing games can be helpful, absolutely. And I think that if you are responsible and your friends are okay with it, that's fine. But I would not put my home game friends through the same experience, because I just don't think they'd be comfortable with it. Different people are different in that case, and you need to be responsible with how you play your games, because oftentimes people are not going to be comfortable exploring those kind of topics, whereas a therapist, they're paid to do so.
They have the knowledge, and it goes back to what we were talking about earlier with safety tools. Safety tools are not going to like solve a problematic player. What they're going to do is they're going to make sure that you are all respecting each other's boundaries in that front, and you're not using each other as therapists. And they're going to help with everybody knowing where their hot button topics lie, figuring that out with each other, and being cool after that. And so that's really the main thing for me when it comes to figuring out what you can learn from D&D in general, is that yes, it can help you learn about yourself in the way that any storytelling could. I could read a book, I can watch a movie, I can listen to a song, and it helps me learn about myself. But in no way is it going to solve something for me.
Also, it depends
I've only just realized it.
It depends on like what degree of therapy you're talking about, because I think a lot of people might look at that statement and think, oh, therapy, like, when it comes to like trauma or abuse, but like, therapy could also apply, like someone using TTRPGs as therapy could also apply to a queer person who found themselves or through a game like that. And I think that like that is a different ballgame. Like using D&D as therapy is something that people use in so many different ways, and some of them are more okay than others. Like, for example, exploring, like I have a lot of confusing thoughts about gender that I've been dealing with for a long time now. And TTRPGs have been very helpful.
Great for that. Yeah.
And furthermore, that's something that my home game are fine with. Like they're fine. Like I explore that aspect of myself by just having queer characters in the game, and my friends aren't gonna ever complain about that. They're perfectly okay with that. Right? Now, on the other hand, if I explored abusive imagery through my games and use TTRPGs as therapy in that sense, that's different. So it's also important to clarify, like, what kind of therapy are you talking about? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's why I'm gonna call him out for this. I did again talk with Phil a lot about this, and we said we were gonna make a video about it. We never got around to it because we're both some procrastinating bitches. But that I felt like it deserved a much broader topic than just the statement. It's not therapy, because there is so much more to know about that. There's so much more to explore on that. And I don't want to say anything more on Phil because, that he has his own thoughts and opinions, and I'm not going to sit here representing him on a video he doesn't even know that he's in now. But yeah, there's a lot to talk about when it comes to that topic, and I think it can be so helpful and so cool at allowing you to explore and figure out things about yourself without putting that weight on others. It's when it begins to put weight on others that it becomes dangerous. And that's where you just talk with your group. That's where you talk with your group, because it's going to be different for every single person.
That's also why I don't like Twitter, because it does. This is the kind of nuance and the kind of long form discussion that TikTok and Twitter don't use.
Exactly.
Which is why I hate those, and I'm not on there.
Yep. I am on them tangentially. I'm so willing to drop them for weeks at the moment where I'm like, this is not worth it. And I'm out of here.
Here's the thing. Let me wrap for a second. Like, how do you people sit on your beds just doing this with TikTok? If I find myself doing this for any amount of time more than 5 minutes, I want to die. Okay, it makes me feel unproductive. Okay, Crispy's Tavern. I'm happy when I'm getting things done.
when I'm out there grinding, all right.
When I'm grinding, yeah. I upload 3 times a week, dude. Yeah, I'm out here grinding.
I do not upload 3 times a week. I upload once, maybe every 2 weeks.
No, I find that perfectly respectable. You script your video. You write scripts, right?
I do. I write scripts. I do all my own editing. And I used to film 3 and upload 3 every single week. That was exhausting.
I don't know how you could script 3. I was a state impromptu competitor, which is why I can just make up a video as I sit here.
It's really funny if you look at my early videos. You can tell, because I did impromptu some and I scripted others, and you could just tell like my cadence is so different, and people would call it out in the comments. I was like, all right, I gotta get more consistency. So
yeah, all lies in just taking some decent notes beforehand and just breathing in, breathing out. I used to coach. I was a bad coach, for the record, but I used to try.
Did your best.
Kids are hard to teach. But anyway, yeah, there you go. There's our last hot take. But let's move on. Let's move on to other people's terrible habits, and let's make fun of a bunch of random Redditors. Are you excited?
I will always make fun of Redditors. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Actually, the only social media platform I use. 2, 1. Okay, cool. So, you didn't clap. You didn't follow tradition. What the heck?
I didn't clap last time. I didn't realize I was supposed to slate.
Wait, sorry. What? You didn't go. Wait.
No,
what?
I didn't. You didn't tell me I was supposed to.
That's the whole point of the what? Have you ever recorded any? What is wrong with you? This episode is over. All right, we're done here. We're done here. Oh my God, my neighbor's probably thinking, what the hell is wrong with this dude? Dude, you didn't clap last time.
No, I didn't clap. You could see my video.
No, I couldn't. I wasn't paying. I was looking at my camera to make sure the timing synced up. Bro, what? When you clap on audio, it's to sync up the audio on both ends.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong, but
I know I'm not wrong. I was a professional.
I forgot that I was recording the backup. Okay.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry.
What are you doing to me right now?
Causing extra work because I actually just desire pain. That's a secret.
Yeah. No. What do you mean desire pain? All right. You're causing pain for me, not for yourself. You
Yeah,
don't gotta deal with
I
this shit.
desire pain in the world in general.
Yes. I've heard I'm the same way. But in any case, I'm gonna put on my reading glasses. Do you have hot reading glasses?
Not with me, but I do have glasses. I do actually have reading glasses, but I have these.
Okay, anyone who wears sunglasses indoors deserves to be ejected into the sun.
You have no proof that I'm indoors.
Are you?
You don't know.
I
Maybe
have
there's no roof.
my proof is the lack of ambient noise. You're in the Midwest. There's no way that would be that quiet. No shot.
Uh,
Um.
as, all right. That's just my autism showing. I always have to have sunglasses because I hate light. So,
Oh.
yeah.
All right. That's why I have transitional lenses.
Nice, nice.
Peasant.
Oh, yeah, okay. West 47 says, overthinking everything while simultaneously being too lazy to apply said overthought concepts.
Bro, yeah, dude. Oh my god. Who doesn't do that?
That is some word salad. Oh my god. Overthinking everything while simultaneously. No, okay, so here's
No,
the
that
meme.
made sense to me. Like
No,
you
it makes sense, but also, okay, how many? Oh, one, two, three. So I'm just counting the amount of syllables that you could take out of here and still say the exact same thing. Okay, look, here's the deal. Here's the deal. I have a solution for this.
All right.
Just don't think, and then forget to slate and get blamed for it later. That's what I did.
Okay. I I think okay, here's my genuine solution for how I handle overthinking world building cuz recently I got really into A Song of Ice and Fire. I've always been into A Song of Ice and Fire, but I got really into the world building and the theory crafting and all that cuz I really genuinely love George R. R. Martin's world. I love the subtle magic of it. I love the mystery. I love that it's unfinished. I'm gonna be honest. I mean, I love that it's unfinished. I would prefer it to be finished, but part of why I like it so much is the mystery, is the mystique of what happens next. Like this story is
Yep.
at its best when I don't know what's going on. But as I was doing that, I started, building out all these world building concepts across my world, and I found myself having a much better time when I wrote it down, when I had a document where I could just go first thought, second thought, third thought, timeline events, simplify everything down to a document and write stuff to make sure that it stays in a place. I think Ginny D talked about this in her video, but a big thing, not just for ADHD people, but in general, you take things out of your working memory when you write them down. You don't gotta remember them anymore, right? So the moment,
Exactly.
yes. So if you're tired of overthinking things, you're not gonna need to think about them for long if you just put them on a paper. And hey, remember, your world building's not set in stone. You're not publishing this. You're like we're talking about this in the tabletop context, but like how many? I don't know. You're a DM? Have you like built out your world and stuff?
Yeah, okay. So I have a specific method that I choose to do, which is, again, everything for me always leads back to session zero. And I feel terrible about that because if people didn't do a session zero, this advice is not helpful. But what I always do is
If
I
they
make
don't
sure
do
that
session zero, I shoot them.
Oh, it's so important, but I know some people don't know
Not
that. Anyways,
actually, but in the last video, I did. It was fun.
but no, my whole
He
thing is that
consented.
I will ask. He consent.
He
will
did. He
ask-
literally. I can send you the receipts. He said I could shoot him.
Good for him.
Yeah.
But
Good for them. I actually don't know the
keep
gender of the
distracting me.
person.
You keep distracting me. So, my whole thing is that I will ask everybody to send me everything that they care about their character. I will build out everything that their character implies. If somebody sends me something saying that they're a gladiator, all right, that implies that there is a gladiator system in this world. I will build that out. What society would have a gladiator system in the world? I will build that out. I'll build out everything the players sent me, and everything else is a big blank question mark. Because they showed me the only things they care about. I don't have to do more than that. And
Yeah.
if they begin to push towards things that are going to imply other things, like, hey, we're going to go outside of this territory. Okay, well, what other things would be outside of this territory? Then I can build that. And please, yes, you're right, write it down. Because if I don't, once I write it down on paper, even if it's the simplest thing, like they're walking into a grassland, suddenly my brain goes, okay, so why is it a grassland if that was a desert? What does that even mean? So, but yeah, I will only build out what the players care about because they are not going to explore outside of that.
Yeah.
They don't care about anything else.
I think one I used to be a big believer in only focus on like the moment to moment world building of each session, but it was actually Ginny D who convinced me, Ginny D and Martin and Bob Ross who convinced me otherwise, because I got into painting. And when you paint, you gotta start with the broad strokes of what you're gonna be doing. Like I do something called flow acrylic painting, and that is obviously very abstract. If you're unaware, it's very abstract. Hold on. It's very
You have an example?
Yeah, it's right here. It's very abstract. It's very you know,
Amazing.
it doesn't know what's
That's
going
so good
on.
though. That's so
But
good. That's so good.
when I was making this, I knew, generally speaking, what I was going to do. I was going to do a Mars-looking planet with green space around it. I knew that.
Yeah.
I went in with that concept. When you're world building, it's similar, right? You gotta have. It's helpful, at least, to have broad strokes. Like broadly, I know that my world is 3 continents. West has a lot of empires on it. East has a lot of criminals. North has a lot of magic. Okay, that's simple nonsense, but that gives me a starting point to work with. And therefore, it makes creating those more complicated concepts easier later on. The more I develop my world, the easier it is to continue developing my world.
The fun thing that I have for overthinking is overthinking actually generally leads to contradictions. If you think too deeply about something, like say, I've seen people talk about creating societies where necromancy is actually used to basically just remove any need for public service. You raise the dead once they're gone, and they now serve as public servants, and they take care of all the menial work, and that's cool.
That's
I
a big part
love
of
that
Dark
concept.
Chronos. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that concept. It's super cool. If you deep dive too far into that and develop that system out too well, at a certain point, people are going to ask, well, why don't the undead why don't they do everything? Why doesn't everybody else do this? And then you start to get contradictions. And so,
well, I think also asking that kind of question can lead to interesting world building, because in my world, that is the way One Nation works. The Umbral. Yeah.
That's the thing is if a player asks you a contradiction about your world building, you have 2 options and both are totally viable. One is saying, I didn't think about that. That is okay to say. That's totally fine. The other is to lean across the table, put your chin on your hand and go, isn't that the question? And leave it there. Even if you don't have the answer, make it seem like there's something more. And now you get to figure that out.
Also
now you get to think more on it.
Also, ask those questions yourself, because like that's a question I came across. Like, you know, the Umbral Coast has all these scientific advancements. It's super rich. People there are generally happy. Well, okay. I don't want it to be this utopia. So what's bad about it? Well, you know, when you engage in necromancy all the time, it's not all hunky-dory. Someone's eventually going to try to summon an army of undead to take over the government. So that might not be great, you know? So,
Exactly.
like, liberal use of dark magic might occasionally be bad for you, even if it does bring about these advancements. And also, you got to keep in mind that not everything needs to be boiled down to, like, the cinema sins type critiques of your world building.
Oh my God, yeah, please.
Yeah.
Cinema Sins is the antithesis of fun. Okay.
Yeah, no, and don't get me wrong.
Things
like,
can just be left in the air.
Yeah, sometimes things can, like, it's okay. You're not professional. You're developing out a world that is supposed to, like, that's just for your 5 friends. Okay, you're not developing a world to be looked at by CinemaSins. If you don't want to ask the questions around why undeath isn't popular everywhere, then you don't need to. Like, I think that there are interesting ways to deal with that, but if that's not something you're interested in dealing with in your world, like Jenny D is, again, sorry I keep on bringing her up, but I've been watching a lot of her videos, so she's on my head.
I'll get it. She's great.
Yeah, she mentioned that she's not interested in big broad strokes world, big, you know, giant world building. That's fine. Like, you know, not everyone is. So yeah, like that's just generally speaking, like, I think that's that's good stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. And there doesn't have to be an answer, like you mentioned with the undead thing. If a bunch of people are raising undead, it's like, well, why doesn't everybody else do that? Well, one society believes that it traps the soul. Is there any proof of that? No, but that's what they believe. And another society is concerned that the undead can't be ruled. Like, there could be so many different answers to the same question. Culture is very, very diverse, so it doesn't have to all be the same.
Just to cap this off, another thing that you mentioned that, like, you only everything else is a blank canvas. You focus on what your players do. There was a Q&A with George R. R. Martin, author of A Game of Thrones and Song of Ice and Fire, where someone asked him about, because if you're unaware, in that world, the main story takes place on the continent of Westeros. So Westeros is very developed. Someone asked him if he's going to develop his southern continent of Sothorios, and he responded, no.
Love that.
No, I'm not.
That's
No,
amazing.
because why would I? The story takes place on
Yeah.
Westeros. I might
Yep.
put a sentence or two out there because why not? It doesn't take me that much
Yeah.
to write. There are dinosaurs there or something like that.
Hmm.
But for the most part, it's about developing a story where it matters.
Yeah, exactly. And it also leads you to be able to, like you said earlier, paint those broad strokes, make some basic inferences about another world. And if you ever do go to it, now you have a fun base, but you don't have to figure out more. So,
Yeah, exactly. Also, mysteries are fun.
yes, yes, they are. Mysteries are very fun.
Like, I don't want to learn about the land of always winter in the Song of Ice and Fire. That place is mysterious and mystical, and I don't want to learn more about it because that's what makes it cool, is that I don't know
Yeah,
much.
exactly.
All right, but anyway, next one. You wanna read this one too?
I am prepared to read it.
All
I'm
right,
ahead of the game. I'm learning. I'm like a computer.
all right, you got it. You're ahead of the game. Let's go.
Here we go. Kitchen sink syndrome. If it's cool, if I read a similar idea recently, if it amuses me, whatever, I'll throw it in. So, okay, first of all,
Yes,
it's so real, but I'll get the
so
problems
real.
later come when I have to explain why and make it all coherent. That's real. That's so real. Oh, and honestly, I don't know if I can give the most advice because I do that. I do that so much. Here's the best advice I can give is if an idea comes up and you think it's cool, stop. Think about if anybody else at your table is also going to think if it's cool. If the answer is no, don't do it. No matter how cool it is to you, don't do it. I promise, because you're going to put all that time in, and even if you enjoy it, once you present it to your players, and if they are disinterested, that's really disheartening for you. So that's the main bit. I'm curious to hear what you have to say.
Okay, so I will say this. This is writers' advice forum for
Hmm.
writers who
Hmm.
I don't know how many of these people actually want to be
Sure.
professionals, but I
Yeah.
imagine the end goal is to write a book, publish it, and make money.
Yeah.
When you are
Yeah.
playing Dungeons and Dragons or any tabletop game, like I'm building out my my world exists for both D&D and Draw Steel. When I'm
Hmm.
building out my world though, I mean, it's for fun, man. Like, I wrote about a massive civil war called the Bastard Sowing. None of my players know about it. I wrote it because I wanted to have fun. I thought it was cool.
Yeah. And I'm sitting here being a stick in the mud talking specifically about games because that is my preferred way to tell stories. That's what I enjoy. But the purpose is to tell a story you enjoy. So like if it's something you have fun with, go for it. I'm being a stick in the mud because this is how I like to tell stories. It's what I care about.
Yeah,
You go do what you want to do.
yeah.
Please.
I think furthermore though. I mean, when you are playing a game, you as a dungeon master do have responsibilities, right?
Yes. Yes.
You got a session next week. You gotta get the session ready. Like, I do
Hmm.
have a problem with kind of hyper focusing on stuff that isn't that important to the next session, right?
Hmm.
And I think it's fun. Like, I loved writing about the bastard sowing, and that does establish world building concepts that are going to be important in my campaign. But
Hmm.
I should focus more on like the active stuff that my players are engaging with right now. And the reason is because of kitchen sink syndrome. Like, I read about the Blackfire rebellions and thought, "Huh, that's cool. I want to write something based on that." And I did. And
Yeah.
I had a good time, but the important thing is I had a week, where I could do that. If it was hours before the session and I was writing about the Civil War my players don't care about, that's irresponsible.
Yeah, it really comes down to okay, this is like broader advice in general. But if you are so focused on wanting to build stuff that doesn't really have anything to do with your campaign, that's fine. You're good. Maybe you should write a book. Maybe this is not the storytelling medium for you to tell this specific story. Because if you are the
Or
dungeon master,
I
uh-huh,
think more
go-
pertinently, it's not necessarily
uh-huh.
that you need to write a book, it's that you might need to focus your campaign elsewhere.
You know what? That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
But I mean, what it comes down to is that you have sat down to not tell your story. You are telling your story, like the table's story.
Yeah.
And so if they are not interested in that, then you should not pursue that.
Oh,
In the
yeah.
same way, if the players are pursuing a story you're not interested in, you shouldn't be running that. It is the table as a whole. You guys are supposed to be enjoying it together. And so if you think of something cool and you've been writing it out and you know like that's something your players are going to be into, more power to you. If it's only going to be fun for you, that's totally fine. But remember, you've taken the time commitment and responsibility at your table, so don't neglect that, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. Yeah. I say that about redirecting your campaign because I think if you're not interested in like what you're currently running,
Mhm.
that's fine. But again, I think genuinely some DMs need to learn like, hey, it's okay to redirect. Like the reason I enjoy my home game is because my home game I just kind of screw around. Like I toss my players from a very traditional like Breath of the Wild style like small scale plot line about hunting a griffin, and then move on to like something straight out of Lord of the Rings where you're defending a castle against a horde of gnolls, and then move on to a cowboy story with vampires and zombies, and then we move on to
Yeah.
exploring ancient ruins like Indiana Jones, and then move on to a story hunting a dinosaur in the jungle. Like my home game lets me do that, and
Hmm.
my players, like I can tell when they're having fun. Like they were having a heck of a lot of fun during that Lord of the Rings siege plot, and when
Hmm.
they're having less fun, like that exploration plot in the ruins, that was more boring.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, but the good thing is I can move on. We don't have to stay in those ruins forever. I can just say next session we're hunting dinosaurs.
Exactly. The only thing that keeps a boring session being a problem is if you don't learn from it and don't move on.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
and that is the point of the game, is to have fun. If you just want to bounce around and everybody's enjoying that, do that. Do whatever you as a group find fun. And that is why, like, I really differentiate. Live plays are meant to tell a cohesive story a lot of the times. Don't try to be a live play. If you are trying to be a live play, there is a different set of rules. I still think it's a super cool storytelling medium. They
Mm-hmm.
are different things. The goal should always be to have fun first,
Yeah.
and then figure it out from there. So,
The specific example is something that I can feel.
overthinking and making simple things too detailed. I tried to make this whole magic system from the ground up, and it never actually ended up being important to the plot. So I just threw it all out, and now it's just plain magic. Nothing more, nothing less.
Specifically magic systems, bro. I'm gonna stop trying to even bother with that whole thing. I don't care. Sorry, Brandon
It,
Sanderson.
listen, when it comes to, I have I think what is not necessarily a unique mindset on this, but I do think it's not something a lot of people commonly agree with. And that is that anything you're putting a lot of effort into making detailed should serve a character arc. So if you're putting a ton of detail into magic, that better be related to how somebody is going to grow as a person in that story, or else it's really not helping anything at all. And that is coming from somebody who prefers writing character focused stories. I get that other people like other things and they do not have to be me, but
Yeah.
me personally, if you're going to put detail into something, it should be for the service of showing how somebody's going to, it's going to be about the characters. That's literally what you're all sitting down to do. So you're going to have to make it character focused one way or
Yeah,
another. So.
absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. Okay. Boo, 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 boo. All right, let's grab. Ooh, gotta grab one more because my camera's almost out of battery.
Oh, cool, because my
Ooh.
laptop's about to die.
You don't have the thing charging?
I I listen, okay. I am making do with what I got here.
I
I got
can't stick
very
a
limited.
charger in my camera, all right? For the laptop, come on.
Can't stick a charger in your cap. You got to get one of those battery packs. The ones you just
Yeah, I
drill a
need.
hole.
I no, I do need to get spare bats for my
Yeah,
camera.
yeah.
I've been way too lazy to do that.
Way too.
Um, yeah, or not lazy. I'm so paranoid around
Oh,
spending money in
I
general.
I thought you said based. Way too based to buy batteries.
Oh no, no, it's not lazy based or anything of the sort. It's mostly just me being financially
Yeah,
paranoid. I hate spending money on things I
I
don't
I
absolutely
get it.
need.
I get
Um,
it for real.
ooh, oh, Corpo, you got me here. Oh, this one's good. All right, last one. This one's fun.
All right. Okay, here we go. Trying to. Okay. I like to read ahead even while I'm reading out loud, and I would time. Trying to over-explain everything, talking about every detail about this world, and talking more about the story and the world itself without realizing it, filling the post with way too many long paragraphs, even in the comments. And even when I think I put just enough details without making it too big, I realize I haven't given enough context to my world. I've been trying to get better at this. Oh, okay. Time budgeting, energy budgeting is a real thing when
Yeah,
it comes to building worlds. And it is really
and
hard,
especially
especially.
when you're building out a world for a game, because like I
Yeah.
think being a GM can be extremely consuming in terms of your energy.
Yes. Oh, no kid. It can be a like part-time job, a full-time job if you're not careful. Which we love doing things that we love, but let's be real. We're humans with finite amount of energy in our bodies. You cannot devote too much of yourself to anything. You have to budget yourself properly, and knowing how to do that is super crucial, and the best option I can give you of like, or I guess advice I can give you on how to budget this stuff properly is just sit down, look in a mirror, and be honest with yourself on the things you get distracted by. Because you know what you get distracted by. For me personally, I will spend way too much time trying to curate music for a session.
Oh
Music is
yeah,
great, an
yeah.
amazing way to do things. It is
Wait, what do you
not going
use?
to
What do you
help a
use
thing.
to put the music into the game?
And like to actually play it, sound
Yeah.
paint.
Ooh, I
Yeah,
might check that
yeah,
out.
yeah.
I use something called
It's really
Kenku
cool. I like it.
FM.
Kenku FM.
It's a free program, but I do but you
Okay, okay.
can spend money on it, and I think people should because
Same for sound
it's
paint.
such a
Yeah.
good. Oh my god.
Kenku
Oh my
FM.
god. Did I even make fun of Dr. Disrespect in this episode? Oh come on! You still
I,
giving me crap for this? Sorry, I'm looking at comments right
wait,
now.
wait. What do you mean? What? I mean, like I'm all down to make fun of Doctor Disrespect any day of the week. But what are we talking about? What's the context of
Sorry,
this?
sorry. I just got a notification on somebody being feisty, trifling in my comments.
Oh, because you made fun of somebody who is just genuinely. You know what? Actually, I'm supposed to be a nice person. I'm gonna bite my tongue.
Yeah, anyway.
Uh.
Yeah.
Anyways, no, I'm looking at Kenku. This is great. Okay, actually, I there is another program I use, but I'm sponsored by them, so I feel bad
Is
for
it
saying it.
Sirenscape?
No,
Okay.
no,
Oh,
it's
you were about to
Describe.
you Oh, Describe. I haven't used Describe.
Yeah,
I will say though, no hate to the Sirenscape guys. But
yeah.
like God, guys, I have never, and it has been years, but when it comes to playing, because I play Kenku FM, you can play
Hmm.
music, sound effects. It's so good. You can play
Hmm.
YouTube through it. You can play Spotify through it. It's so good.
Beautiful,
It's
beautiful.
amazing, and it syncs perfectly.
That's
No
amazing.
delay.
Is it okay? So I do the overcomplicated thing where I have SoundPaint is like a local thing. It plays on your device, and
It
you
can
set up
also play. It can
hotkeys.
also play locally on your
Yeah, okay,
device.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, because that's what I do that, and then I hook it up to my OBS, and then hook up my OBS to my microphone,
No,
so it plays
no,
through
no, no,
there, all
no,
the whole
no.
thing.
You
No.
don't need to do that. You can place Kenku FM directly into the Discord. It's a bot.
Great. Okay. All right. Cool. You.
I'm telling you, dude. If you want to play music, because I've been looking for someone who's as obsessed with playing music in their games as I am. Like I'll
I
show you.
love playing
Yeah, I'll
music.
show you
Oh
what my
my
Kenku
God.
folder looks like. It's ridiculous, but like, yeah,
Amazing.
I think, by the way, if you want to spend a lot of time on that, that's okay. Like it's not there anymore, but I got a list of priorities when it comes to prepping my session. Number 1 is notes. Number 2, maps and tokens. Number 3 is music and SFX. Like that is an important priority for me. And if that's something you have time to make a priority, I think that's valid.
What's really funny to me is that I was saying that I get distracted by music, and then like I literally proved my point because that's all we talked about for the last few minutes. So,
That's
but
okay.
yeah, so but
My
that
show.
like goes back to the point that I was going to make, which was you know what you get distracted by, you know what you like focusing on. Save those things for last. Do
Yeah.
the other things first. It is, and what you just said about putting your priority list, exactly that. And then also, I don't know. For me personally, my prep goes 90% into thinking about what my players hope to happen in that session and making sure that that's something I'm focused on. So even if I don't have the miniatures for it, because I don't usually use minis, to be honest with you, I'll
Same.
just set. I have tons of them. I'll usually just set down dice or something, or we play online, and then I just get
Yeah,
tokens.
I play online. I just
Hmm.
I never understood the mini like I never was my
I
thing.
like having them for my video background, but yeah. So like I will be focused, and this is my group specifically what they care about. I'll be focused 90% on what story are we telling tonight, and that's why I focus on the music because it's great for that. They
Yeah.
don't care a ton about the set pieces. There are some people in my group who are amazing at set pieces. They make some awesome ones. That's not what they come to me to DM for. When they DM, they do that, and that's fine. That is okay. Do what you're good at. So.
Yeah, I hold on. I yeah, I prioritize mostly. I mean, I think genuinely speaking, I will say if you got time, like you can focus on what you want to focus on that day. Like I on my priority list, lore and maps is last. That's number 5. But
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
recently, I beat Destiny the Final Shape. I beat Cyberpunk. I played through Baldur's Gate 3 again. I haven't had many video games to play
Great games.
recently, so like time I would usually spend gaming, and my friends are really busy, like work's picking up, with autumn coming around. So like
Hmm.
if I don't have a friend to hang out with, I'll probably sit down and work on a map. And
Yeah.
I'm probably working on a map before I work on my session, but that's because I got time. It's
Yeah.
okay. Like if you got time, do what you want to do, have fun, but just make sure that when it comes down to it, you make sure to focus on what really matters for your world or for your
Exactly.
game. Yeah.
Yep.
But anyway,
Yep. Whatever the table is excited about.
yeah. All right, awesome. I mean, my table does get really excited for maps though.
Mine does in certain. I'm bad at maps are not my thing. I'm gonna be so real.
I mean, hey man, I wasn't good at them for a while, but like I took a look at some maps. I started messing around, and like it probably takes me longer than it should. Like maps that
Mhm.
take someone else an hour take me literally 3 to 5. But I mean, if
Yeah.
you sit down, like really start working at it, like I think I've made some pretty good stuff. You know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like it's all what you like. Because again, even when you're prepping, you as the DM are the player at the table. You should be having fun, even while prepping. It doesn't have to be 100% fun because it is a little bit of work. Let's be honest. But like, you should have fun
Yeah.
doing that. That
Yeah.
should be something you're excited for.
Awesome. Yeah. But anyway, I think it's time. Before we roll out the red carpet, there's one last thing we gotta do. It's time for Thing of the Week. Hit the thing. Thing of the Week this week is going to be. Hold on. Is it up there? Woo! Oh wait, no. The real camera can't see it, but I got the Dungeons and Dragons Lego set. I impulse bought it at a Barnes and Noble. Fun. So here's the story. My mother invites me to watch Alien. Well, no, I invite her to watch Alien Romulus, and she's like, "All right,
Hmm.
meet me at this theater." So I go to the theater, and I stop by the Barnes and Noble that's right outside the theater, and I walk in and I see the giant D&D Lego set, and I'm like, I'm buying that because I want to show off. So I bought the D&D Lego set, and I walk it back to the car. $400 later, not 400. I think it's like 350. And then I realize, wait, Mom, did you say this theater? She's like, yeah, I said that theater. Oh, I'm at a theater on the opposite end of the state. Whoopsie!
Oh my.
So anyway, I made it. I watched Alien with my mom. Didn't get to eat dinner, but I watched Alien with my mom. She brought me a blueberry muffin, which was really nice of her, and it was a great movie. But yeah, that's how I got the D&D Lego set. It took me a decent amount of time to build. I will say this is probably one of the most fun builds I've worked on recently. There's not a lot of like, as a I'm a Lego collector before I was a D&D person. So as a Lego collector, I really hate working on like small detail things. Like I love the Rivendell build to death, but it's full of tiny little details that are a pain to build and my fingers hurt. This, not a lot of that, and the ones that are not that bad at all. The dragon is shockingly easy to build. I think it was done in an hour and a half, and it is probably the best Lego dragon I own. Entirely brick built, none of that molded head crap that you see on Jurassic Park or even Ninjago these days. I like this build a lot. Minifigs are great. The build is great. I love it. So genuinely, if you got the cash for it, I 100% recommend the D&D Lego set, especially if you're a fellow Lego collector. Happy to add this to my rapidly growing collection. I literally moved just to fit more Lego.
That is incredible. And you know what's funny is my thing is also a Lego set. I can't
Whoa!
show it. I can't show it because
Which one is
um,
it?
it
I'm
is
so
the
excited.
Lego insect set. It is not. It was between that and the D&D set. They were right next to each other. But the Lego insect set is so. So my wife is a huge Lego person, and
Yeah.
I've been getting into it building with her. We built the Hercules beetle. It is so pretty. I love it so much. It's great. So
Man,
we
by the
haven't
way,
gotten around
the
to
price
building
difference
other
between
things.
the insects on the D&D set, oh my god. Wait.
There's a reason. There's
Yeah,
a
you went to
reason
the
why
like.
we
Yeah,
bought
I
them
don't
together.
blame you. This is, wow. Yeah, this I saw this at the Barnes Noble too. It is a great build.
It's great. I love it. We haven't built the butterfly or the praying mantis yet, but the beetle is amazing. I love the mushrooms and brightly colored wings. It's so good. It's so good.
The
So
wings open.
they do. It's
That's
so
cute.
pretty. So
That's cute. Oh, and ooh, a good part for price ratio. 1,000 for 80. That's pretty good. Uh-oh. Did he disconnect? Oh no. Did he disconnect? I'm not going to be able to open up the red carpet. No! Hello? Hello? Are you out there? Leave the call if you can hear me. Please. Hello? Oh no, the laptop died! Our cameras died. Oh no. So here is Editing Crispy doing the outro. If you guys enjoyed, then you'll probably enjoy Jay Martin's stuff. His channel is linked in the description down below. Check him out. He's got lots of cool stuff. But before you go, please leave a like on this video and subscribe to Crispy's Tavern so you don't miss any of our content as it comes out. And finally, if you want to leave your own thoughts, you can go down in the comments down below. If you can't think of a comment, leave the comment world building to let me know I made it to the end of the video. In essence, like, comment, subscribe. We will see you all next time. Farewell.